Technology has completely changed the game when it comes to multitasking. So, a lot of times when I just want to talk to someone and I don't really want to hear anything back, I just find my mom when she's using her phone and I'll say whatever I need to say. And like a lot of moms, she usually has a lot of gyan to give, but when she's using her phone, it literally goes in from this ear and goes out from the other. What I do know though, considering this, is our generation is sort of better at handling technology and multitasking. I mean, how often do you talk to one of your friends and they get completely lost in their phones and don't respond to anything you say? Now, if you do have a friend like this, then that person is not your friend. I'm just kidding. That being said though, our generation does struggle when it comes to attention. According to Microsoft, in a study in 2000, the average attention span of a human was 12 seconds. And in 2021, the study was done again, and the results are kind of scary. 8 seconds. And this decline is mostly due to the widespread use of digital devices and constant exposure to information. And to be honest, I've noticed this a lot. For example, sometimes when I'm reading a book and it's a not so interesting chapter or not so interesting part of the book, I completely disappear. Like I'm reading the lines, I am going through the book completely, but my mind is completely somewhere else. And when I do realize that it's happening, I'm done with most of the page. But it's like nothing went in. So keeping that in mind, I have experimented quite a few different methods when it comes to multitasking for maximum productivity and time management. So stick around for the rest of this video if you want to know more. Technically, we're almost always multitasking. I mean, think about it. We're breathing. Whatever we do, we're breathing with it. Now, yes, breathing is not necessarily a task, but that doesn't mean it's occupying a little bit of space or a little bit of energy that's exerted by our body. So, keeping that in mind, I've divided this video into two segments. And they are good multitasking habits and bad multitasking habits. Simple. And also by keeping these things in mind, it has really helped me in actually getting things done and getting things done on time and also manage a lot of different things. Let's start off with bad multitasking. And the first point is communication and multitasking. How do you feel when you're talking to someone and the entire conversation they're just scrolling through their phone? Irritating, right? It gets my blood boiling. There's this study called the iPhone effect, which was done in 2013, that basically says just the presence while conversing with someone can make the opposite person feel like they're being disrespected and not important. So think about it. Just your phone being there, not even you using it, just it being on the table is something that can really affect your communication with someone. Another thing that I've realized is keeping my phone around while working. So again, let's look at when I'm reading books. For example, before I would keep my phone in and around where I'm sitting, right? I'm just reading my book. I just keep my phone down and I start reading. What I noticed was just the fact that my phone is there. I'm not picking it up. I'm not using it. No, but just the fact that it's there a lot of times would make me feel like very restless and I wouldn't be able to focus on what I'm reading. And that goes even with content creation work or any college work. If my phone is in the vicinity of my eyesight, basically, like I can see from the corner of my eyes, doesn't have to be in front of me, but in the corner of my eyes, I am restless. And a lot of times, even in my pocket, like if my phone is just sitting in my pocket, I can feel it. I'm not able to focus. So what did I do and what could you do if you're struggling with the same? A lot of times, if my phone is near me, I either keep it in a different room or let's accept it, we're lazy sometimes, I just put a pillow or some book or something that's lying around on top of it so that I can't see it. And trust me, try this. The difference in the amount of focus that you can have is crazy. Now, the third point is same sensory multitasking. What this basically means, in simple words, doing two different things that involve the same sense. For example, I could be cutting vegetables and watching a YouTube video. Now, yes, I know that's a really stupid example and nobody's really going to be doing that. But, I mean, you never know. But you get what I'm saying. Basically, it involves sight, both of them. I don't have to say any more about this, but for obvious reasons, these are bad and dangerous. That's it for bad multitasking. As far as possible, I am definitely going to steer clear from this. And I would suggest you try doing it too. See what works out for you. Before we talk about good multitasking, let's briefly look at how the brain functions with multitasking. The prefrontal cortex, it's basically responsible for all the tasks you have at hand. Sort of like the manager of your brain when it comes to all of your tasks. So when you have a lot of tasks, chores, homework, all of these things, your prefrontal cortex keeps sending signals to your brain to reprogram and adapt to the new tasks that you begin. As in when you keep doing tasks and switch from one task to another, your prefrontal cortex sends signals to your brain to reprogram and adapt to the new task. With practice and focus, the brain adapts to multitasking, effectively managing multiple tasks and achieving our desired outcome. So, key emphasis on practice and focus. On that note, let's talk about good multitasking habits that could really help all of us. Riding my scooter and listening to audiobooks, podcasts, and informational content is one such multitasking habit that has really transformed my life. Now, before I explain a little bit more about it, I want to be clear that I'm safe and I'm precautious. I only use one earphone and the audio is barely loud enough for me to just hear whatever is being said. Now, I'd heard a lot of self-development gurus speak about this quite often in the past. But for some reason, I'd started doing it, but I just couldn't stay consistent with it. That latest Anujev banger would just be too hard to avoid while riding the scooter. You get those feels, But for the past 6 or 7 months, I can tell you that I've been able to change that completely. And here's how. It's simple. You practice it every day. Now, for the first couple months, it can be challenging, but just think about it as let's do it another day. Let's do it another time. Let's do it another night. And eventually, like the study suggested, your mind gets reprogrammed and this multitasking becomes really seamless. There's also this study called The Effects of Tasking Difficulty and Multitasking on Performance, a study done in 2018. This study basically suggests that when people do simple multitasking tasks, their overall productivity is much higher than when they do complex multitasking tasks. And in this case, for me personally, riding a two-wheeler isn't a complex task, nor is listening to a podcast. Alright, so to wrap things up, another form of multitasking with creative work in specific that really helps me get into that zone where I get all these crazy ideas and I can do things super fast, is using emotional music. Now, no, I don't mean your Ashiki 2 songs or some sad shit like that. I mean songs like Now We Are Free from Gladiator, Time from Inception, and I've been experimenting with a little bit of Beethoven too, and that kind of hits the spot too. What I basically do is I completely shut myself out from all distractions. So no phone, bedroom door locked, no outside sounds. And I blast this music in the background. And before you know it, I get emotional. And what happens after that is all these creative ideas rush in. I even do it to hype myself up. In fact, before this video, I was playing Time from Inception. And it kills. It's basically like, how as kids we would chew gum while studying and then in the exam we would somehow expect to know all the answers. But in this case, it actually works. Another thought, last one, I promise, before you leave, is accepting the fact that you are multitasking, which means notice when you're multitasking. I am somebody that's personally believed I am horrible at multitasking. But something I've noticed of late is when I do those tiny multitasking habits and I actually notice them and accept them for what they are, it really becomes much easier. To prove this, there's this study called The Illusion of Multitasking and its positive effect on performance. And it basically says people who know and accept that they're multitasking outperform the people who are performing singular tasks. That's about it for multitasking for this video, guys. If you're somebody that wants to keep learning and growing and bettering yourself, then do subscribe to this channel. I am currently myself on that journey, and I am willing to share any and everything that I learn on this journey in the hope that they could help you too. If this video helped, then do share this to someone that this video could probably help too. Now, my next video, I'm going to be talking about personality development. And this comes from somebody that's been a spoiled brat, a backbencher, a really naughty brat of a kid who basically had to do a lot of personality development. And I've got some great points in that video. So stay tuned for that. And until next video, bye guys.